It's been a year since this delightful little square entered my life. If you've seen my previous video about the Playdate, you'll know that I love this thing. It has a premium feel, novel control ideas, and it's just downright fun. A lot of folks in the comments seemed hesitant to invest in one though, stating that the $200 price seemed kinda steep, especially since you can get a Switch Lite for a similar price. Unfortunately, it seems like we live in a world where price drops have gone extinct. In fact, consoles are going up in price, with Xbox increasing the price of its consoles by $100 or more. The Playdate suffered a similar fate, with rising costs requiring a price bump to $229. Do I think this gimmicky little square is worth it after a price bump? Is it worth it when buying a Switch is the same price or even less? What kind of support has the Playdate gotten in the past year? And does it look like there's much of a future left for it when it's been out for so long? I'm ashamed to admit it, but my Playdate's been gathering dust for these past few months. Most of my gaming nowadays is done on airplanes or in bed, and unfortunately for a system with no backlight, there's no light to see with there. However, after a few folks asked me for a new video on the Playdate, I decided to dust the little guy off and give it some love for this video. Now, I'm regretting ever putting it down. I know its screen is the reason I can't play it in the dark, but I swear it's gorgeous otherwise. I love how it just pops. There's also been countless new releases for this system since I last picked it up, and I have had so much fun playing them. The Playdate has been a haven for fun, bite-sized indies in a way that we don't really see in the Switch generation anymore. Small, inexpensive titles are the perfect fit for handhelds, like the Game Boy and DS I had, but nowadays, it feels like bite-sized games don't get much love on consoles, and mobile games feel like they need to be always online microtransaction fests. I think that the Playdate shines for that reason. It reminds me of the sort of games that I loved from my childhood. Some are creative takes on classics, and others are wholly new experiences. Here's a few of the games that made me fall back in love with my Playdate. Pong is not just a video game, it's the video game. It's the common ancestor of all that we love and play today. Since the original title had simple black and white graphics, it just makes sense to have a take on Pong on the Playdate's 1-bit screen. And Doink is exactly that. It's a new take on Pong that's perfect for the Playdate, and it's not just because of the graphics. The original Pong was played using dials, which offered tighter controls than a D-pad or control stick could. Well, guess what? We've got something perfect for that. The crank. It offers the perfect amount of control for a Pong-like. Doink isn't just a Pong clone though. It gives our favorite little 1-bit tennis simulator on Playdate a roguelike twist. Every point lets you add a modifier to your game, such as changing the speed of the ball, the size of your paddle, or other elements that'll make the game crazier. By your final point, you won't even recognize the game anymore. Doink is a fun little arcadey take on Pong that makes for great pick up and play fun. It's the kind of game that is perfect on Playdate that you can't really get elsewhere. If you like puzzle games, HEXA is the perfect one to give your brain some exercise. You spin hexagons with the crank and move positions with the D-pad, trying to make a hexagon of a single color. It's fast-paced and a bit of a challenge, but simple enough to understand. Sometimes I catch myself panicking though, not knowing how I'm supposed to fit these pieces together. But hey, when I figure it out, it feels so good. It's simple to pick up, but difficult to master. Wirewalk was such a fun surprise. The Playdate is especially suited for Game Boy style games, and one of my favorite Game Boy games, and one of my favorite Zeldas, is Link's Awakening. Wirewalk manages to push the Playdates to its limits in a dungeon crawler that evokes one of my favorite games, but with a cyberpunk aesthetic. In a world where tech controls just about every facet of life, including entertainment for dogs, a virus that makes that tech go haywire is a huge problem. Your goal is to explore multiple Zelda-style digital dungeons to help solve the world's virus problem, equipped with a bat and a handful of other trinkets. The dungeon design from what I've played so far is plenty of fun. If Wirewalk seems a bit ambitious for a Playdate title, that's because it actually launched on Steam a few years ago. The Playdate release might be a port, but it feels like a perfect fit with its Game Boy aesthetic. My only complaint is the frequent loading screens. They're not super long, but they can still get annoying. I guess that's the cost of porting a PC title, huh? Either way, Wirewalk is an amazing take on the Zelda formula and a great addition to the Playdate library. Frog in your throat? Nah, frog in the dungeon. Ribbit Rogue has a pretty self-explanatory title. It's a roguelike starring a frog. You've got a deck full of dice to roll that allows you to attack or defend, with some options adding a little more depth to the combat. As you progress, you'll unlock more powerful dice with riskier abilities, and buffs that'll make your frog even stronger. It's got a simple loop that's easy to understand, has a fun use of the crank, and is a great pick up and play title for a few rounds. If you're an enjoyer of dicey deck building roguelike RPGs, then this is a must play. Bwirds is a lovely pun and a cozy word puzzle game. You've got a bus full of people requesting a certain type of word. They might want one that has a certain amount of letters or a certain theme, like food-related words. You don't spell these out with your average keyboard though. You have to collect these birds with letters on them to make them. These can be your usual letters, letter combos, or even wildcards. Words may flee after your capture attempts, or you might want to scare them away if they're not the letters you need. Thankfully, new ones can take their place. See? Look, wait, no, don't roost like that, no! Each game is quick and fun, with great opportunities to chase high scores. If you want to test your vocabulary skills and go bird watching, Bwirds is a great opportunity to do both. 2 Bwirds, 1 scone. I love puzzle games. I love Balatro. What happens when you combine these? It's magic. Poker magic. Think Puyo Puyo, but instead of matching colors together, you need to make poker hands. Like HEXA, it can be a challenge. Figuring out how to make hands that'll score, let alone finding a way to combo them together, is tough. But once you get a hold of how it all works, you end up with a really addictive puzzle game. I tried out Rocketpult Mini, and it's one of those games that I'm incredibly bad at, but still have a blast. You use your crank to build up speed, then launch a rocket from this catapult. You also have to safely land your rocket after that, but I haven't been able to successfully do that yet. Thankfully, you can go from a failed launch to a new round in seconds, so there's no waiting, just blast-offs. A round of Rocketpult only takes a few seconds, but with its tough to master gameplay and ease to try again, I caught myself doing just one more round over and over and over again. Traffic Jam is deceptively simple. You move your signs so that cars go in the right direction. There's an audio and visual cue to indicate the next vehicle coming, and then you steer it in the opposite direction using the Playdate's crank. It's such a fun, zen experience that I easily catch myself directing over 100 cars in a sitting. I think it scratches the same section of my brain that Rhythm Heaven does. This might be one of my favorite games on the Playdate. Simple, but addictive. Rowboat Rally is a concept made for the Playdate. It's the kind of game you can't get anywhere else, since it's controlled with the signature crank. In a world where robots command the championship title in rowboat racing, the folks made of flesh and blood have kinda given up their hopes of the trophy. When a bunny mechanic discovers a broken robot in the junkyard though, she repairs it and enters the race with it as her duo's partner. Your robot pal will row automatically, and you use the crank to row your side of the boat. Keep pace with your robot buddy to go straight, row faster to turn left, row slower to turn right, and stop rowing if you want to spin in circles. The control scheme is simple, but it still makes for a difficult challenge. The first 2 races were a breeze, but after that, I started to have a bit of trouble. This is the kind of game the Playdate was made for. Simple concept, high skill ceiling. The gameplay is solid, but Rowboat Rally goes above and beyond with its cutscenes. The art is cute, the animation is fluid and expressive, and each one feels like a reward for winning a race. Rowboat Rally is a must-have for the Playdate. It uses the system to its full potential, taking advantage of the crank and using art that looks gorgeous on the system's 1-bit screen, and one of the most fun arcadey titles I've seen on the yellow little square. So yeah, that's a handful of games that I've been playing a whole lot of since I picked my Playdate back up. This barely even scratches the surface of what the Playdate has to offer though. There's still the 20 games in Season 1 that are included with the system for free, and dozens more in the catalog. That said, if you want to see some of the other stuff I love, be sure to check out my other Playdate video, because I talk about the other games I loved on it there as well. I also want y'all to keep in mind that the Playdate is still getting more games. Developers keep on adding bangers to the catalog, and Panic just announced that Playdate Season 2 will start at the end of May, delivering 20 more Playdate games from amazing developers for less than $2 a game. I think the Playdate shines as a fun little doodad for some pick up and play games. Its small size and simple controls make it easy to jump in, have some fun, and pocket it when you're done. It's a great little companion for the bus or any breaks you might have throughout the day. You don't really realize how long it takes to start up a game on the Switch or your phone until you've got a device like this that can get you in the game in seconds. I think what makes the Playdate great is its limitations. Yeah, it's not as powerful as other systems. It's got a black and white screen and 2 buttons. But developers work with those limitations and end up making games that you really can't find anywhere else. If the idea of a gizmo that plays creative, bite-sized indie games sounds fun to you, I think the Playdate might be a great addition to your pocket. It's been out for 3 years, it's still going strong, and it looks like it has an amazing future ahead of it.